We all know the infamous intraday trailing drawdown has been a big problem for a lot of traders and is the ultimate account killer when trades don't exactly go your favor. But in this video, I'm going to show you how you can beat the intraday trailing drawdown and keep a safe distance away from that threshold. We're going to cover that in this video. But before we do, fam, we're live right here at the New York Open, day trading the NASDAQ. You see my green days, my red days, my full tilt moments, everything that involves me as a trader. You see live right here on YouTube. So smash that subscribe button. Also, hit the like button for your boys. Free ways for the channel to sell YouTube. Hey, you like this content and it helps me get out to more people. Also, if you want to skip the eval stage and go straight to a funded account, TradeFi is running 30% off their straight to funded accounts. Use code JN to lock in that deal. Also, take profit is 30% off with no activation fee right now. Use code JN to lock that in, fam. With that said, let's get in the video. So if you use a prop firm that has the intraday trailing drawdown, there are ways that you can beat it without having to sweat bullets, wondering if you're going to hit that threshold, if it's going to continue to rise up and rise up and rise up. And if the price pulls back or your trade pulls back and you go around the trade, are you going to hit that trailing threshold? There are ways to go about this to actually beat it consistently. And I'm going to give you some actionable steps to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the charts, and this is all back tested. I did this on Apex, or I passed, their evaluations within 2 days. I passed it within 2 days doing this method. And you can do the exact same thing that I did. Will it work the first time? Maybe not. Will it work the second time? Maybe not. But eventually it will work. When I tested this, it worked on the first time of me testing this actual system. Now, I have failed other Apex accounts in the past, but testing this actual system, I passed it on the first try. So hopefully you can do the same. Again, no guarantees, just as a disclaimer. However, these are steps that you can take that give you a greater chance of getting past that intraday trailing drawdown in your funded accounts or even passing the eval account. So we're going to dive into that right now. The number one thing that you want to look for is momentum, right? I mean, you can have all these strategies, you can stick to your strategy, but really the one thing you want is to hop in on a momentum move. However, you don't have to catch the whole entire move, okay? And what I did to keep me safely away, right? And again, the goal of the intraday trailing drawdown is to stay as safely away from it as possible, right? We want to stay safe from getting close to the intraday trailing drawdown. And the way you do that is not by capturing the whole move, right? Because we know in trading, nothing is linear, right? It can go straight up and then pull back 30 points before continuing the move, right? So we know that nothing is linear, right? The one thing we can do is find momentum in price and take bits and pieces of that momentum by capturing, say, 10 points, 15 points, right? Again, the goal not being to capture the whole move, but to set limit orders at specific targets, right? So as an example, this is exactly what I did to pass and to get past the intraday trailing drawdown, right? So let's just say we're going to take this as an example, okay? Let's just say this is the 15-minute opening range high, right? This green line. It's a 15-minute opening range high. Let's just say that we see bullish momentum, and we're going to hop in on a long off a retest, right? Now, given we are looking hindsight, and this is perfect scenario trade, okay? I get that. We're looking hindsight. But as an example, let's just say you hopped in long off a retest of the 15-minute opening range. We're not looking to capture from 200 all the way up to 287, okay? Because we know things can pull back. And that when that pulls back, it gets it closer to that intraday trailing drawdown. What we're looking for is we taking a long off 200, and we're going to set a take profit order at 210. We're going to capture 10 points. So if you do it on one mini, you're going to capture $200. If you do it on two minis, you're going to capture $400. Okay. We're only looking for 10 points. And what we're doing is setting limit orders on these targets, because when those get hit, we are keeping our distance away from that intraday trailing drawdown because we're taking profit at the peak of the price point, right? So just say, as an example, that you take one mini at 200 and you're targeting 210. Okay, well, you would have made $200, right? However, say on a 50K account, right? I think the intraday trailing drawdown, I think it's drawdown of 2,500 on 50K accounts for Apex. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what it is. But that intraday trailing drawdown would have moved up to 2,300. If it was 2,500, it would have moved to 2,300. However, your profit would have moved up by $200. So you're still staying the same amount of distance away from your trailing drawdown from what you started, because you took profit at the peak instead of letting it pull back and take a profit and getting closer to the trailing drawdown. You're taking profit at the peak of your P&L, right? So that's the importance of setting the limit orders or the take profits on the charts, because at that point, you're taking profit at the peak versus coming back down closer to the intraday trailing drawdown and taking profits, only leaving you, say, X amount of money, right? That's where a lot of traders go wrong with the intraday trailing drawdowns, because they don't set take profits. They don't set limit orders to take the profit at the peak. What may happen to most traders is they will enter a trade, again, at say 200 here, and they ride it up, and they're getting greedy, right? They're getting greedy, looking for more. Look how far this pulls back, right? See how far that pulls back? Now this pullback is going to inch you closer and closer and closer to that intraday trailing drawdown till what happens? Say you close a trade, right? Say you close this trade and you're now much closer to the intraday trailing drawdown because you let it pull back. Well, say the next trade goes red on you, right? Say you have a next red trade and that wipes you out because the intraday trailing drawdown was moving along with your P&L on the upside. Does that make sense? So don't stay in a trade too long to where things pull back. Always have a take profit at the peak of the P&L. Whether you're targeting 15 points, set a take profit at 15 points. When price goes up and hits that, you are not getting closer to your intraday trailing drawdown. You're actually staying the furthest away that you possibly could, right? Again, it's all about keeping a distance from that, not getting closer and closer and closer, because you can be green on a trade and still get closer to your intraday trailing drawdown when it pulls back. Again, the overall goal is to stay as far away from it as possible. And the only way you do that is by setting take profits at specific price points or levels. That way, when that price gets hit, you're taking the profit at the peak of your P&L. And the importance here is your win rate is going to be much higher because you're not getting greedy. You're setting take profits. You're only taking 10 points, and taking 10 points on the NAS is easy to do. I'm not saying trading is easy, but the NAS moves a lot. And so if you catch a momentum trade, you're going to get 10 points pretty quickly. Okay. And so your win rate may shoot up. I passed these Apex accounts with an 80% win rate, doing these one-to-one trades, taking my 10 points on these big momentum moves. So that's really two things that are going in your favor for these accounts. Your win rate's going up because you're taking one-to-one trades, you're taking profits, but you're also taking profits at the peak of your P&L, like I mentioned earlier, that's keeping you a safe distance away from that intraday trailing drawdown. And so with a really high win rate and taking, 10 to 15 points on the NASDAQ, you're going to pass these 50K accounts pretty quickly. Now you can do these on the larger accounts too, with larger size. I see people doing 50K accounts with 2 minis. While I don't recommend that and I don't condone that type of trading because it is very risky, that is extremely over leveraged. But like I mentioned, having a higher win rate, your chances of passing go up, as long as you don't let trades just slam against you, right? If you're only taking 10 points, you don't want to lose 20 on a trade, right? You don't want to lose 20. You want to take your 10. You want to make sure your risk to reward is still there, okay? But again, that's the importance of staying out of the chop and only catching trades that are on a momentum movement, because that reduces the likelihood of you actually getting stopped out on these one-to-one trades. And again, if you have that higher win rate, you're going to find yourself having much more success doing this in these types of accounts than you would getting greedy and letting price continue to run and run and run until eventually it pulls back and gets you closer to that intraday trailing drawdown. So really the big takeaways from this video and the actionable steps that you can take as a trader to beat the intraday trailing drawdown is: 1, look for momentum moves, right? You see it here, momentum, or you see this here, momentum. Look for momentum moves. When you enter a trade, set a take profit at a desired amount of points. Again, don't get greedy and look for 50 to 100 points, right? Look for that 10 to 15 point range, right? Set a take profit in that area to where once it gets hit, you're taking profit at the peak of your P&L and not getting closer to your intraday trailing drawdown. And 3, size yourself appropriately for the account size that you're trading. Again, don't throw on 4 minis, 5 minis on a 50K account. It's not going to work out good for you. Size yourself appropriately. Using 1 mini on a 50K eval, in my opinion, right? This is my personal opinion. I might get attacked in the comments on this. I don't do this in funded accounts, but in evals, I think 1 mini on a 50K doing 10 to 15 points is a solid plan, as long as you're taking the 10 to 15 points and not getting greedy. And again, doing what I mentioned, setting take profit levels in that 10 to 15 point region. That way it doesn't pull back on you and you get closer to your intraday. But that's how I pass my Apex accounts. That's how I'm trading the funded accounts right now, getting past the intraday trailing drawdown threshold in order to get these babies to a payout. Fam, if you like this kind of content, smash that like button. Again, try this in your own trading, right? If you do the intraday trailing drawdowns, try this in your own trading. See if it works for you. Find ways to tweak it. Tweak the system again if you need to find ways if it works for you. But in my testing, this is what I have found that works best in the intraday trailing drawdown account. So be sure to like the video, subscribe if you want more daily content, fam, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.